Feels like I'm listening to a kindergartner explain policy with 238 likes on that comment. This was just weird. In this episode, all smoke and mirrors, y'all asked tougher questions to retired athletes than y'all did to a woman running for president, SMH. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a huge breaking news story for you today because Kamala Harris has actually done another interview. Wow, crazy how it's literally newsworthy every time that happens because it is so rare. But we will give you the full reaction, breakdown, and just pure nonsense of Kamala Harris's recent podcast here today, folks. So if you enjoy the content, please do us a big favor, hit that like button down below and be sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new. Your subscription, trust me, it goes a long way in ensuring that we can keep bringing you these videos. It is election year. Censorship is higher than ever. So folks, please help us fight back by hitting that red subscribe button down below. And with that said, so long story short, Kamala did this podcast with these guys called All the Smoke. I've never heard of them. Apparently, it's this podcast of two former NBA players. I don't know, don't really care, but I will say I find it highly ironic that this podcast is called All the Smoke, considering they did not give Kamala Harris all of the smoke. In fact, they did not give her any of the smoke because this entire thing was a completely cringe, boring, and softball interview. I thought these guys used to play basketball, not softball, but apparently, I don't know. Take a listen.
One of my guilty pleasures, especially when I'm on the road, are my Doritos.
Oh, what flavor?
Nacho. Old school, original.
OG.
Come on.
Yeah. OG.
Come on.
Red bag.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. That's exactly. Got to have a napkin nearby.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
An incredible family and incredible friends. My best friend from kindergarten is still one of my best friends.
That's crazy.
Right? Stacey Johnson.
Yeah, that's dope. I love it.
We used to go to the clubs and her Father Seville.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that is the essence of what this interview was. No smoke whatsoever, right? It's called All the Smoke, there is no smoke, okay? And it was so bad. Check this out, ladies and gentlemen. This is the funniest part of the entire thing. So the interview currently only has 250,000 views, which for a podcast of 1 million subscribers and you just interviewed a presidential candidate, not exactly the best numbers there, right? But check out, the funniest part is the ratio. It has 15,000 likes and 31,000 dislikes, okay? It is 67% dislike ratio, and there are 19,000 comments, which some of which we'll read in a second, overwhelmingly negative. There are more hate comments than there are likes on the video. So clearly, whoever these guys are, their podcast was not well received. So we'll get to more of that in a second. But first, take a listen as Kamala Harris responds to the question of what is your message to Americans who are struggling to pay the bills, struggling to buy groceries, and yeah, it's exactly what we expected. Are you ready for it? She grew up, once again, as a middle-class kid.
Going from a show to a whole entire company, what is your your economic plan moving forward for people who are living paycheck to paycheck and struggling for groceries and rent and homeowners?
So, look, I grew up, so my sister and I were raised by our mother. We lived for a long time in an apartment on top of a child care center. That child care center was actually owned by a woman who lived 2 doors down from us, Mrs. Shelton, who was, by all of our accounts and feelings, our second mother. She helped raise us.
Okay, just a reminder, the question was about, like, what is your message to people who are struggling with the cost of living right now? Okay? Just so we're clear, that was the question, okay?
And so she was a small business owner. So I'll start with the small business, and congratulations on what you guys have done. I, from a child, knew who our small business owners are, right? I mean, you're business leaders, but you're also civic leaders. You take seriously your voice and how you can mentor, how you can grow, right? Communities and the sense of communities. I love our small businesses. And so a lot of my work in terms of building and growing the economy has focused on small businesses. And my vision overall is we need to build an opportunity economy in which we increase opportunity for all, including small business owners. So a lot of my work even in the Senate.
Okay, so we are 1 minute and 17 seconds in. Has she answered the question? No. Would any honest interviewer be like, okay, but what is your plan? Absolutely yes. But you can tell in this interview, I mean, apparently these guys are supposed to be like rambunctious and they have like a crazy and like funny podcast, and here they're just like, Madam Vice President, why are you so amazing? So it really makes you have to almost question, how much were they paid, if they were paid for this interview? And some other YouTubers have alleged that the Kamala campaign has offered them money to, sit down and do these interviews. So, because that's exactly what it comes off like. It is very forced. These interviewer guys look like they're being held hostage. But I don't know. Let's finish out this clip and see if Kamala Harris says literally anything. I'm curious.
It was about increasing access to capital through our small businesses, and in particular through our community banks. So I've been responsible for billions of dollars more now going into our community banks, because they're in the community and then they know who's in the community and where the talent is and who's doing good in the community, what the community wants. And so part of my plan as president.
Okay, so there you have it once again. I mean, nobody is really surprised by this now, but even after a 1 minute plus word salad about how she grew up middle class, her answer as to like affording the cost of living is community banks, which community banks are probably nice for a community, but they're a bank, right? How does that actually help people afford their groceries because they use a community bank instead of Bank of America? What are you even talking about? What is Kamala Harris talking about? Nobody has any idea. But finally, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to note there was one point in this interview where Kamala Harris is remotely honest, because she starts talking about what she was doing the moment that Biden dropped out of the race. And this part, I will say, I absolutely believe. Take a listen.
Look, from the time that the president called me and told me he wasn't running, I mean, it just like everything was in speedy motion. And I was not sleeping so well. And that one morning, I had, I don't know, a few hours sleep, and I like to sleep. I just got up, and so I just went out and got a pork roast and started marinating.
See, time to work. Get to your happy place.
And my family happened to be in town, so they were very happy about the whole situation. But I just got up and started, everybody's asleep, I just got up and started cooking.
See, that's the part I actually believe, because as Trump said at the debate, they hate each other, right? So I absolutely believe that Kamala Harris was celebrating. Her whole family was so happy that the president dropped out of the race. She was cooking the pork roast out of celebration. 100% true. So at the very least, we get one nugget of truth out of that. But we're not going to react anymore to this interview because, frankly, it is boring. Like I said, total softball. The guys look like they're being held hostage throughout this entire thing. But I do want to read some of this comment section, and feel free to go down for yourself and see, because all of the comments on this video are overwhelmingly tearing her apart, tearing the interview apart. So here are just some of the examples. So this guy says, y'all are so lame for this. Hope the bag was nice. Yeah, I'd have to imagine there might have been a bag, just the way that the interviewers were so awkward the entire time, right? Feels like I'm listening to a kindergartner explain policy, with 238 likes on that comment. This was just weird. In this episode, all smoke and mirrors. Y'all asked tougher questions to retired athletes than y'all did to a woman running for president, SMH. By the way, fact check true on that comment. This podcast is sponsored by Pfizer. And who destroyed Oakland again? Because Kamala Harris early on in this podcast was complaining about Oakland being run down. So kind of funny, kind of white pilling in a way to see these guys be pressured into interviewing Kamala Harris, and their own audience kind of giving them a check for it, having a very hostile reaction and saying, no, we don't want to see that. And that interview absolutely sucked. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comment section down below. If you did for some reason sit down and watch the whole All the Smoke podcast where there was no smoke given whatsoever, tell me your thoughts. Be sure to leave a like on this video. Again, subscribe to the channel if you are new. And until next time, God bless and peace.